UNESCO website, and statistically it has been taken from statistics. Now, so what is the staggering impact? The staggering impact is that, so 1.3 billion people till 23rd of March were out, and still I'm predicting that many more will be out. Approximately 80% of the world's learners are now being kept out of educational institutions, which is very important for me. You may present your content brilliantly through the MOOCs and the online and the virtual reality, but as Professor Pandey said, human touch is necessary, right? Without that, the real socialization and real educationalization will never take place. Almost 138 governments have now ordered countrywide closure of schools and university till 25th of March. What is the latest data? This morning, again, from the UNESCO website, I have taken this data. Approximately now, because it is reduced now, again tomorrow it may increase. So a lot of fluctuation is taking place. 1.18 billion learners are affected. Second, it says 68% of the total enrolled learners. This is the today's data. 149 countries on worldwide closures. What next? Nobody knows. Now, so what are the, two reports I would like to share with you. World Bank Education Report and then Harvard Gadget. First, let me talk about the World Bank Education Report, what it says. School closures seem to present a logical solution. This is what number one says. But it says the longer closure tend to have a disproportionately negative impact on the most vulnerable students. These are not mine words. I'm sharing this from the World Bank Education Report. Second, hard-earned gains in expanded access to education stagnate or reverse as school closes are extended. Third, this may cause further loss in human capital, friends, and diminishing economic opportunity. You know, World Bank works largely from the perspective of economic development. But I'm happy to share with you, it also talks about all these things. Second report, the Harvard Gadget, what it says, to fix with the race for a space resolution. Second, backup online learning system. Third, a new paradigm shift in terms of the way in which we need to look at education, because children's well-being and success depend on more than content learning. I'm not saying, Harvard Gadget is saying, and it is going to be a variable effect, not the singular effect on any system, on any sector, from any perspective throughout the world, friends. So what are the key emerging issues? The first key emerging issue is what are pedagogical and socio-cultural or socio-economic consequences of this pandemic, and what scenario do we foresee? I'm not the foreseer who can say that this is what exactly going to. We can just speculate on the basis of the probable data that is there in front of us. How can coronavirus related disruption give educated to rethink the education sector? And the third, while we know that the impact of this virus will be far-reaching, what might it mean in the longer term for education? So these are key emerging issues in the education sector in the post-COVID era for me, friends. So now, what are the probable prospects? The coronavirus pandemic has changed how millions around the globe are educated. Believe me, online education is not the solution. Why? I'll present some data in front of you. New insights and new solutions for education could bring much needed innovation. And the third, given the digital divide, you know, when initially people started talking about the digital divide, lots of people raised questions. Few days back, even Byju's founder raised the question, no, I think digital divide will and if we start using technology. I have a response to this. I'm not trying to demean, but I have a question as an educationist for all these people. So given the digital divide, new shifts in education approaches could widen equality gaps. अंशु जी, आप क्या करें कि एक दो लाइन दिखाइए, पूरा दिखाएंगे तो ये जो लिखा हुआ है वो नहीं दिखेगा. एक दो लाइन आप चलाएं राउंड के रूप में. So, friends, this is what I would like to, the probable prospects. It is, education, interventions during a crisis can support prevention and recovery of public health. Like I'm very sure that almost all 800 people who have just listened to Professor Pandey, I mean, what other measures they need to take from our socio-cultural perspective, and that is going to help you a lot. I mean, I'm not aware. I was insisting to keep my body alkaline, right? And so taking a lot of, lemon, but since tomorrow I'll try to have amla more than the lemon. So it is, and that's why there is a need to have a dialogue and discussion with the experienced people. It helps them cope or maintain some normalcy during the crisis and recover more quickly, hopefully with some useful new skills. And yes, maybe, and for that, not only the distance learning, I have some opportunity to work in the area of distance learning, but it happens. Rather, the deeper digital mastery where applicable. So deeper learning should be more important. But I'm not going to talk about how normalcy is being trying to restore, but this is today is redundant. I'm not going to talk about this because what happened yesterday in Israel and Germany and other, you all know. So no point of discussing this class. But yes, there are channels, and these channels, learners learn around the world. I'm very happy that they have done good job, right? Need to do better job. So channels, these are the channels help learn around the world. Which are those? Of course, the Khan Academy, Sal Khan, the credit goes to Sal Khan, TED, right? National Geographic Education. There are Google and many more friends. So you are acquainted with all this. I'm not going to mention the name. Lego Discover is there, Code is there, and number of platforms are there. If you will browse through the web, you will find thousands and thousands are coming every day, right? But I'm very happy to announce and to make a statement. There is no dearth of amazing content out there, but hopefully this is to serve as a good point or starting point for the focused education supporting young learners today. So I don't understand which content is the best for me. And that's why here in front of you, friends, which I'm going to talk about, that the key emerging questions are in these challenging times, several tools, but which tool will be the most effective tool for my learning? What strategies teachers and academicians and the learners can use to inspire, I again repeat, deep learning from a distance. Deep learning within the class, deep learning in the community, I can understand. But deep learning from a distance or deep learning virtually or deep learning through the web is the challenge. So how technology has stepped into the bridge and how will it continue to play a key role in education and that future generations will have to live. So in a world where information is a mouse click away, how the role of the educator must change now. But not knowledge, it's information only. There's a difference between information and knowledge. I have persuaded to understand knowledge for 6 years in my life, being a student of epistemology, theory of knowledge and knowledge. So, and that's why sometimes when people talk about Pragyan event or the Vivek event, I have my own logic. That logic may be right or may be wrong from some perspective, I don't know, but I can defend that. So creating your own MOOCs. Today, if you think that you have something new and you want to create your own MOOCs, right, you can create your own MOOC. And that's why people are not talk like, they are saying MOOC not the one. They're the multivariates of the MOOC. And what are those? Like people are talking about the C MOOC. अंशु जी एक रिक्वेस्ट मैं करूंगा, मेरे स्क्रीन पे बहुत सारे आपने लाइनिंग बना दी है, तो पॉइंट्स देखने में मुझे दिक्कत होती है, इन सबको आप डिलीट कर दीजिए प्लीज। अंशु आप मेरी आवाज सुन रहे हैं, तो इन पॉइंट्स को आप ये जो लाइनिंग आपने बनाई है इन सबको डिलीट कर दीजिए। एक ऐसा समय आएगा कि फिर मैं
मेरी तरफ से नहीं किया गया, एक बार आप फिर से शेयर करें तो वो रिफ्रेश हो जाएगा।
हाँ, इसको अच्छा ठीक है, मैं कर दूंगा उसको, लेकिन कोशिश
ओके आप रिफ्रेश कर दें सर।
सो देयर हैव बीन, अच्छा ठीक है। So what I'm trying to make understand is this, that 1 minute, let me refresh if it happens, then let me see, I don't know or it's going to work it or not. But anyway, I don't know how to refresh it. So permit me to go ahead with this.
सर फिर से शेयर करिए आप. हाँ सर, और पीछे आइए सर, बंद करिए शेयर, स्टॉप शेयरिंग.
फिर से शेयर करूं?
स्टॉप शेयरिंग, स्टॉप शेयरिंग करिए, देन उसके बाद फिर शेयर करिए.
Stopping sharing, and I'll reshare with this. Right, fine. Fine. ठीक है. So today what is happening, people are saying, why do you talk only one MOOC? There are multiple ones, and that's why new terminologies are there. Whether you teach biology, you teach physics or the chemistry, or like me, mathematics education or mathematics pedagogy, right? What you'll have to do, that you'll have to learn digitally literate, right? So these are the websites. So today what is happening, so potential of digital literacy you need to understand. Open universe of information is important, and how higher education can adapt to the future of work, that's very important. So what could that, please nahi chalaiye. So what could that education look like, and how do you get there? Ab chhod dijiye screen ko, I'm handling my screen. So focus on human knowledge, not just digital competencies required, number one. Second, embrace the T-shaped approach of knowledge. And the third, invest in, I repeat, personalized technology enhanced learning. And for that, what we'll have to do, as I said, and time and again, I have repeated in all my presentations since last 10 days, leveraging deep roots within digital community building. And that's very important. So suppose if this situation persists, we'll have to bank upon the digital community building. And for that, we'll have to share the knowledge. Okay, and the third, embracing the windows of the opportunities that are in front of us. But what are the challenges? As I said in the beginning, when I was trying to set the tone of my presentation, that you need to ensure the digital equity, number one. Number two, developing online learning information design. Number three, designing independent learning. And the fourth, very important, creating dynamic online learning environments. My young friends are also right now, joined with me virtually. And for them, if they have some ideas, if they want to create their own courses, and then they must keep in mind these four ideas. Why I'm saying digital literacy? Now I would like to present. Recently, Richard has done what I remember, brilliant work. He has published. He is from School of Education, University of Waterloo, and he has presented. Just see the percentage of households with internet connectivity by region, and this is 2018 figure. But perhaps he has taken this database of the International Telecommunication Union 2020. Africa has got, you can see the axis of Africa, axis of Latin America and Caribbean, Pacific and Asia, Arabian countries, CIS, Europe, and right? The kind of facility that is available to us world over, that's not correct data. Now, he did a survey, and he asked 3 questions from the people who are teaching in UK, US, and European Union. Talk about Asia and Africa. I'll share some of the facts of the South Africa and other countries. I follow them. That what kind of deep reality has emerged. First question was, I feel confident in my ability to facilitate online learning. And see the answer, what their professors are saying. Only 59% say we agree, and 41% say disagree, rather strongly disagree. Professors from US, 70%, 70.9 rather, and 29.1%. So 30% of the American professors say that they don't know that they are capable to do that. Are you able to see the slide? European Union, yes. But I have some, question mark, but still I believe, because Richard is a serious researcher, European Union said 90.87% professors there also say that they don't feel confident in their ability to use this. Second question was, I feel prepared to deliver online learning, to teach and assessment. Because when we talk education, at least three things: teaching, learning, and assessment. See, the data is in front of you on your screen. UK, only 47.5%. So more than half of the population of university professor is saying that they don't feel prepared to deliver online learning, teaching, and assessment. US professors, it's a 62.5% only. 37.5% professors have responded, right? And I have data, I mean, taking a clue from Richard only, that the course-wise, the subject-wise, the discipline-wise, etc. But I'm not going to share. And European Union, 81%, but still 20% people are saying. Now, see what is happening. And that's the case countries of the world. Like the case of the health condition. We used to say that, oh, United States of America has got excellent health facility, right? I'm fortunate to visit some of the United States of American university medical colleges and university department, and they're brilliant. But see what has happened. Similarly, from an educational perspective, I'm preparing. This was the third question. I have a good working knowledge of the technologies that are available to support learning, teaching, and assessment online. I have a working knowledge of the technology, not the good knowledge, working knowledge of the technology. And again, the data is not very, encouraging. Fourth question, and I'll repeat here. I feel confident in my ability to facilitate online learning, teaching, and assessment. Again, UK, not very encouraging, only 59% professors, that is 41%, still they are not. US people, only 70.9%, 29.1%, no. European Union, 93, still 7%. Can you professors at this level, they don't know. Now, in that presentation, Professor Agarwal was sharing a data, and he has also collected the data. He's a professor at MIT and founder and CEO of the EDX. See what students' perspective, that was the teacher's perspective. 51% of students were given online classes only. 41% of the Harvard Business School students are not being given, online classes. 65% of the students reported online classes boring and disengaging at the higher level. 70% of students reported home environment non-conducive to learn. 60% of students have fewer than 3 hours of the classes every day. 81% of students preferred physical classes over online classes. So Professor Pandey, not to some extent, but to a great extent, is correct. And last but not the least, 81% of students reported internet connectivity, right? And we have been witnessing since 4 o'clock, the internet connectivity is issue. Friends, so what people say, I'm taking a clue from edX, that the future learning school requires two things, soft skills and the tech skills. And I've combined this soft tech skills, right? Apart from the pedagogical perspective, like in earlier talks, I have already on different platforms I talked about. Now it's a high time to talk about the content knowledge, pedagogic content knowledge. Then along with pedagogic knowledge and pedagogic content knowledge, you need technology knowledge. And that's why PCK, like pedagogic content, technological knowledge, right? But at least if you are not looking at the education as an educational phenomena from the pedagogical perspective, only from the technological skill only. So these two skills are required. But I fully agree with my previous speaker that skill is not knowledge, right? Skill is not knowledge. Skill is not education, okay? Learning is not education. So integrative online pedagogies are required. So in post-COVID period, innovative and creative pedagogy will be needed. And the second, the extended pedagogy will be needed. And third, I call myself a constructivist thinker, and taking a clue not only from the Western perspective thinkers, from the Indian perspective thinkers. So in some literature in India, unfortunately, we have not excavated enough. We need to excavate constructivist and critical pedagogy. Extended pedagogy, I'll talk a little about this. Extended pedagogy talks about, I mean, in educational jargon, it's called constructionist, like Kenneth Gergen recently, and Pepper, and earlier other people have talked about that. And our Gurukul system was equipped with this kind of, pedagogy in there. पहले कुछ करो, महसूस करो, और तब कुछ कहो. पहले हम आज क्या कर रहे हैं? पहले कहते हैं, हम करते नहीं, हम महसूस नहीं करते. So extended pedagogy is, and for me, I hope that by the end of this year, I'll bring out something related to this, but it requires a lot of hard work and reading. It's a socio-cultural oriented. Looking at education as a phenomena from the socio-cultural perspective, right? And that I call extended pedagogy. Friends, when I say socio-cultural perspective, I say all knowledges in the world are socially constructed. Whether it's a scientific knowledge or mathematical knowledge or any sort of knowledge. And you construct this knowledge in a given socio-cultural settings and scenario. Okay, so now I'm not saying that the MOOC is not the solution. MOOC may be the solution. But people, when talking about that, there is a need because in post-COVID period, only MOOC will be the solution. So we need to know, convert F2, M2OC. If for the time being, we understand that, okay, this is what is going to happen and we keep it intact, then the challenge is how to transform the pedagogies from the F2P to M2OC. F2 means face-to-face, and M2OC, being mathematics student, sometimes I coin this, M2OC is MOOC, right? MOOC, a massive online open content. How to do that? You know, in earlier slide, when I was talking about, people say, oh, these are the theoretical things, hardly people do it. Particularly, look at the constructivist and critical pedagogy, you'll be surprised to know. And I'm very happy to share with you. I'm the admirer of Sebastian, again, Prof, who left his tenure job and dedicated his life, and he has created the Moodle platform. And you know, when you visit the Moodle platform, you like, we follow constructivist pedagogy. And he says that I want to extend it, right? So, and second, so how to establish, but when you know how to create the dynamic online learning environment, that is F2, M2C, so the biggest challenge will be how to establish emotional connect with the learners. See, what is happening right now? I'm addressing to you, but actually I'm addressing physically and emotionally both to my laptop. It would have been brilliant if all you 1,000 people sitting in front of us, the kind of energy I would have, experienced, because that would have been not only my energy, but your energy, right? And how to keep yourself as well as your learners motivated. So that's the challenge. So the potential challenge, how can we all collaboratively propose a model, which I call metaversia, anyway, transcending the universe of knowledge, that harness the capital exchange potentials, knowledge building opportunities that rest on the connections between people. Still, I'm saying, friends, connections are very important. Human connections, connection of ideas, very important. Enabling citizens full participation in actual network of knowledge economy. Then, so every solution brings a new problem with it. Therefore, we need an alternative perspective, friends. So what could be that? For me, I'll skip through, these slides, the SS research perspective, the social science research perspective. They have done tremendous work, taking a clue from that. Professor Joshi, when my time is over, you just remind me, I'll wind up. So threat perception, emotions, prejudice and discrimination. So taking clue from all this, presently, we can help the learners as well as to cope with this. And this is the model I wanted to present in front of you. See the threat perception. See, taking a clue, presently 3 great minds have, I'm highly inspired by their work. And I wanted to share this work in front of you. The threat perception model, the leadership, the individual and collective threats, then the science, topic. All these can be addressed during the COVID and post-COVID period if we take clue and the lessons from the researchers, friends. But so 5 minutes more, Professor Joshi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Today, I'm more interested about the larger discourse of education, friends. Very brilliantly, Professor Pandey said that the human beings as citizens cannot be created, cannot be made in the parliament, friends. No? Yes. And this is not the job of parliament also, but that cannot be done. They can only be done in the company of human beings, at the site of the learning, friends, and along with the fellow brilliant minds, thinking minds, a thinking minds. Now, in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about the larger discourse of education. And I'm putting a question mark, and I'm requesting all the people who are advocating that MOOCs, online and virtual reality learning is the only solution of post-COVID period. Please, please pause for a minute, think about it. I'm not trying to undermine what you have. At least our students have access to the learning contents, but are we doing justice? The first one, what are practical and, as I said in the beginning, socio-cultural, socio-economic consequences of this pandemic, and what scenario do you foresee? How can coronavirus-related disruptions rethink the education in its larger discourse, and how the post-COVID-19 era going to address the larger pedagogical paradigms of educational discourses, friends. Here are points. I follow Paul Freire. I follow Michael Apple. Some of the ideas, Henry Zero. I may agree with many of ideas with Henry Zero and others, but taking a clue from their understanding, education is not all about learning only. It is also about being conscious of socio-political and larger democratic issues, friends. Second, how virtual classes are going to address the issues of being critical thinker, critically conscious and aware of our own cultural capital and its strength. How online mode of transaction is going to address the very basis of knowledge and knowledge of democracy. I'm not talking about the democratic procedures, right? With the help of which we elect the government. If you will indulge yourself in the larger democratic debate, the election is one of the biggest, people say it's the powerful tool of democracy. I have different view. It's not a powerful tool of democracy. It's a exploited tool of democracy, which snatches it from you, gives you to somebody else, and who take your decisions sitting in the parliament, friends. And this is my view. Anyway, so keeping this in mind, so larger discourse is, if education is not about self, it is about critical consciousness, so that we become cultural producers. For cultural producers, I'm taking a liberty of 1 minute, friends. I was presenting my paper in University, Riverside, California, and I made a statement that I come from the land which has the concept of zero to the world, numerically, a very powerful concept. And one participant from the Arbind country was sitting now, he's a good friend of mine. He also teaches teaching of pedagogy, and he has also deep interest in epistemology. And he objected to my statement and said, I don't agree with you. I said, what? I said, no, we created it. So continuously I keep searching that actually who created. But since I belong to the land of Patliputra, I can defend it to the hilt. So I told him, okay, you tell me, what is the cultural connotation of zero in your culture? And I asked him 3 questions, and I asked the chairman, give me a liberty of 2 minutes. I would like to respond to his query. I said, now I'm coming to in my own language, the Hindi language, कि जब मैं बहुत छोटा था, तो शून्य का अर्थ बताया गया कुछ नहीं, शून्य मतलब nothing. जब थोड़ा और बड़ा हुआ, स्कूल जाने लगा, तो बताया गया शून्य का मतलब कुछ नहीं तो होता है, लेकिन यह भी एक संख्या है। शून्य का मतलब मान कुछ नहीं होता है, लेकिन यह संख्या है। मैंने कहा जब थोड़ा और बड़ा हुआ तो बताया गया कि शून्य कुछ भी नहीं है, एक संख्या है जिसका अपना कोई मान नहीं है, लेकिन जब ये मैथमेटिकल ऑपरेशंस करता है तो ये बहुत पावरफुल होता है। बड़ा मजा आया। क्या जोड़ोगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा, घटाओगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा, मल्टीप्लाई करोगे तो अपने में समाहित कर लेगा, जब भाग करने की कोशिश करोगे तो शून्य अनंत हो जाएगा। और मैंने कहा वहां पे, चूंकि ज्यादातर लोग अंग्रेजी बोलने वाले थे, आई वुड लाइक टू हैव लिबर्टी टू से इन माय वर्ड, टुडे आई एम कन्विंस्ड शून्य ही अनंत है और अनंत ही शून्य है। ये मेरा कल्चरल कैपिटल शून्य। You have to become a cultural producer, friends. Democracy as a in which so we can visualize what kind of education will be needed to realize democratic ideals, right? And no country, no system is adequate enough to idealize the democratic ideals. इसका सबसे अच्छा एग्जाम्पल, मैं 2 दिन पहले प्रोफेसर खजान के साथ बात कर रहा था इनफॉर्मली, थैंक्स टू प्रोफेसर जोशी, कि तरीके से वर्ल्ड की बेस्ट हेल्थ सिस्टम भी कोविड के सामने घुटने टेक दिए, जिसको हम कहते थे कि उनकी वर्ल्ड की बेस्ट फैसिलिटीज वो आप सबको देखते हैं। इसका मतलब ये बहुत अच्छी थिंकिंग है कि कोई भी डेमोक्रेसी की आइडियल्स को रियलाइज करने के लिए कोई भी सिस्टम सफिशिएंट नहीं हुआ। ये एक कॉन्टिन्यूस प्रोसेस है जिसमें लगातार हम सबको कोशिश करनी पड़ेगी। सो एट द मोमेंट नो एजुकेशनल मोक्स at the center of any discourse about democracy, friends, and which is needed to be done. And if we don't do that, only we keep imparting content from our side to the other side through by any means. So I would like to quote Andy Zero, a discourse of anxiety to give a to discourse of critique and discourse of possibility. And a discourse of possibility means that we can imagine a future very different from the present, and let us visualize a different education for a different world post-COVID period. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for patiently listening to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.